Hello and welcome to Awards Buzz. I'm Abe Friedtanzer.
And I am Latasha Ford. Hello, everyone.
I'm Sari Cohen.
And I'm Shadan Larki.
We're talking Golden Globes, and while we are very gung-ho about film here, we're also enthusiastic about TV, and it's an exciting opportunity to honor half of the awardees, honor what they didn't yet, some other choices they might not have picked, and I had thought when I set the predictions that would be harder task. But this one, even though there are six nominees, I feel per category, it's still pretty difficult. There's a lot of competition, and you never know what kind of memory they have because Golden Globe, the makeup of the organization has changed a little bit. So some of the shows they might have previously honored, like Best Drama Series nominee Prison Break, might not make the cut in this modern day and age. And as always, I love to look at a little bit of past history as we're going through things. And so, as we start with our first category, which is Best TV Series Drama, I will note that we have some returning nominees, but because of the nature of when stuff aired, the only actual returning nominee from last year that is eligible again is The Diplomat. That said, the last time they were on, The Last of Us, The Morning Show, Severance, Squid Game, and The White Lotus were also nominated. I know Slow Horses is also a returning one from last year. That's an additional one. So we have a lot of different options. We have something like 1923, which was nominated last time and is still like this is season two, which is an interesting thing. Like, will there be memory for that? And we have other shows like Andor, which was not nominated before, Stranger Things, which was back in the day and has long since been forgotten, or has it? Um, and That's about it for our returning shows. But of course, we have many other new shows. We imagine it's going to be The Pitt versus Severance again. So I would be startled, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody's thinking either The Pitt or Severance doesn't get in. But I would love to know from all of you, what are the other four shows? What's going to join them?
Whoa. Okay. Definitely the pit. Definitely the pit and Severance. I think White Lotus is going to be on there. I think Andor. I think Pluribus. Um, the other one, let's see. I mean, The Diplomat and Slow Horses, and or Paradise. I don't know. There's a good mix up here. The Diplomat does seem to be like a longtime favorite, so I feel like that does have a good chance. Slow Horses always seems to be like the little engine that could. I think Gary Oldman for sure is going to seal that nomination. And, people love Paradise. I think we saw that with the last award season, the Emmys. So it would not surprise me if that made the cut.
I definitely see I agree with you, Siri, The Diplomat or Paradise creeping on in there. I am a lover of Slow Horses and all things Gary Oldman, so interested to see what happens there, but I'm really excited to see how many overall nominations the Pit ends up landing. But obviously, like clearly Severance and the Pit are going to get nominations for sure in this category. And I feel like, I don't know, I think Andor is going to end up with more nominations than most people are anticipating. I
I
just kind of have that inkling.
Yeah, that surprised me last year as well. Sorry, Shadan, go for it.
No. I was just gonna say for my sixth show, I have Task, just because it's HBO. It's from it has Mark Ruffalo in it. He's a perennial favorite. So, and I feel like the Globes sometimes like to throw in, new shows and be the first people to anoint a show. So I'm going with Task.
Interesting.
I don't understand why Task is here because it is a limited series. It's over. It's not continuing, as far as I
Yeah.
know. And
It was
so,
just renewed for a second season.
Oh.
just kidding. That is old
Yeah.
information. Either way, Task to me felt very much. I was almost sure that it was going to be one season. I'll come back with some statistics here that Andor season one was not nominated for this category, but Diego Luna was nominated for Best Actor, whereas the Emmys this year was the opposite. It was just drama series and not Best Actor. So I am not as sure about that. I feel like we always talk about this how like the years endless. Like Baby Reindeer was still winning awards at a certain point. Like
Yeah.
Andor was still on, and the answer is yeah, it's a little while ago, but it's still in contention. Um, the the Gilded Age is nothing that we should think about. I don't know that it's as serious as other things, that it wasn't nominated here previously, but that's a show that did better with the Emmys after there was like when there wasn't as much competition. I'd love to see Pluribus. I'm not sure it's going to make it. Similarly, I don't know that Slow Horses will make it in again because even though it is great, it sort of took a while to get recognized. And as we saw with the Emmys this year, Jack Lowden didn't get nominated, even though it won a prize for directing. I still think it is a little too under the radar. Like those of us who like it really like it. And I know that here we're all big fans of The Diplomat and Slow Horses, but both of those shows, Diplomat, I think this was the best season, but I don't know that it's as serious as other things. Um, so yeah, and it's weird to like sort of be talking about The Last of Us as an afterthought because it's not like it's very acclaimed, but I think it's highly divisive. Similarly, the morning show theoretically should be here because it's acclaimed. I just don't know. That's also one where Jennifer Aniston was nominated in the past here. Emmys, they keep welcoming that and back more. I want to throw out three other shows, two of which I think will come close. Alien Earth, which I think is probably a better fit for the Emmys than it is here. Your Friends and Neighbors, which I predicted for an Emmy top slot, which did not happen. I don't know what's happening with that because it's a great show. That's definitely coming back for season two very soon. I don't know. I want to put out a show that I did not see listed anywhere as even a possibility on Gold Derby's site, which makes me very nervous because what do I know that everybody else doesn't? And that's The Hunting Wives.
The
Mm,
Hunting Wives.
The first
interesting.
question is that a drama? Is it a comedy? And is the expression on all faces, does that mean that this is a very Golden Globes?
Ah,
I
I
think you, I just want to say, I do feel like the three of us are surprised with hearing that one come out of your mouth. So I
yeah.
just want to go on the record and just put that out there. But
Yeah.
Siri,
No, it's the same thing. I didn't even think about it. That thought didn't cross my mind because there's just so much content that we're constantly sifting through that things can kind of get lost in the shuffle. But yeah, The Hunting Wives is a I mean, that took off this year. And you're right. I'm surprised it's not listed anywhere. Why is that? Like, how did that? I'm looking at the list that Gold Derby has up, and there are other ones like Landman, which we all love, but also the chances of it getting nominated in this category are not so high. The Handmaid's Tale, Yellow Jackets, The Lowdown was campaigning, really hard. We kind of thought for a minute that that was gonna might have made the cut. Squid Game also, third season that took so long to return that I feel like people kind of, yeah, The Hunting Wives. I mean, that would be interesting to add to the mix. Sure.
Do we agree? Is it a
another
drama though, or is it a comedy? Are we set on that? Like that's the question. I don't know.
I feel like it would be a drama, but I don't know. You never know with this. You never know.
You mentioned Your Friends and Neighbors, and I will have to agree with you on that. First of all, I absolutely love that series. Like, it's very interesting that I feel like it's so under the radar, and I do question like what is going on there. Now, I'm thrilled there will be a season two. Can't wait for it to come. But like, what's happening with that, show, right?
Well, the other question too is like network properties, if you think about it that way. So, for instance, like The Diplomat is Netflix. That's a good one for them to work on. But they also have something like Stranger Things. But Stranger Things is probably one of the most popular shows ever, but it's not necessarily the most acclaimed ever. And so it's like
Yeah.
why where we think about all these like what are they putting it into? Apple TV Plus, Severance, and Pluribus are their like thinking shows, but then there's Your Friends and Neighbors, which is very intelligent, but is not like it's not on the same level of that. And so, in a sense, that's better because the reason that the pit beat Severance at the Emmys is because we can all sort of get into the pit, whereas Severance is really a tough nut to crack. Once you get there, it's totally worth it. But I feel like Your Friends and Neighbors, for those who watch Pluribus and they're like, what is happening here? And Severance are like, I can't even do this. They're like, Your Friends and Neighbors, it's John Hamm, it's Olivia Munn, it's Amanda Peet, we're in. So I don't I was surprised it did so poorly with the Emmys and sort of got ignored, but perhaps especially with the season two coming soon, this is exactly the right time for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully so. Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoy Your Friends and Neighbors. I thought that was a great show. So, yeah.
Well, after interesting category, moving over. Sorry, actually, never mind. We'll come back to TV series, comedy, and musical. Let's stick with drama for a few minutes. My list is in a different order, but that is not quite as exciting. So here we have the same thing as in other categories where we have previous nominees, but only two of them were nominated last year. And so last year was Billy Bob Thornton for Landman, which Sari is very, very excited about, as are we all, and Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, which was not his first nomination. It was the first nomination for the show overall. In the past, for all of their first seasons, Diego Luna was nominated, Pedro Pascal was nominated, and Adam Scott. And Lee Jung-jae for Squid Game was nominated for season one, but wasn't nominated for season two. So, given how Emmys completely gutted that show and ignored it, we are not optimistic, especially because him missing out for season two here is a bad sign. But otherwise, that's the extent of the returning contenders. But we have some high-profile ones that we just discussed: Noah Wyle from The Pit, Sterling K. Brown, Paradise, Mark Ruffalo from Task, Ethan Hawke from The Lowdown, and John Hamm from Your Friends and Neighbors. I'll just add before I pass it to someone else that I don't understand how Rufus Sewell hasn't been nominated yet, because if you're watching The Diplomat, like
Yeah.
he is so key to it, and especially in season three. But for him to not get nominated here, or I just don't know, like who's watching that show. The thing that we're noticing about the show, maybe Al Penny. I don't really know how, because he is so to it. So rude. It's great.
Oh no, Abe, your audio keeps cutting in and out. It's hard.
Oh
It's
man, I'm sorry to hear that. I can grab too much of
Want to
the wisdom
say with this particular category, I just am thrilled to see whether or not Sterling K. Brown and Gary Oldman locks in a nomination. To me, like there isn't a question about whether or not they're going to be nominated in this category, but those are the two individuals that I'm like truly, truly rooting for in
yeah.
TV drama actor Sterling K. Brown for Paradise and my BFF Gary Oldman for Slow Horses.
Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, go for it, Shadan.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so I have Adam Scott, Noah Wyle, Gary Oldman, Diego Luna. I'm going Pedro Pascal because he's a star, and I feel like the Golden Globes, they're gonna want him there. And then I'm going Mark Ruffalo, but I feel like Sterling K. Brown could easily get that slot. I'm really that's the toss-up slot for me. It's just hard. I think one of the big questions overall making my predictions was like where the buzz is landing because I loved Paradise, but I'm like, are people still talking about it? I don't know. Same thing with like The Last of Us and like these shows that came out a while ago. Like, are they paying attention to those shows? Are they gonna head towards something newer? I'm like, it's hard to measure.
Yeah, I mean this I know we're only talking nominations here, but I feel like this is Noah Wiley's category and everybody else is just kind of it's nice. It's there, yeah. I mean, we're gonna I think we're gonna see Noah Wyle, Adam Scott, Gary Oldman. It is a crime that that man has not won an award for this role yet. He is Latasha. I know it's
Yeah.
Gary Oldman. Sterling K. Brown also for Paradise. I feel like he is definitely a lock for a nomination. Um, Andor surprises me continuously. Like it is not my favorite show, but I do understand the love for it. So I do see Diego Luna in the mix. And I'm gonna go with Billy Bob Thornton.
Mhm.
I think if we're Landman is if it's going to be nominated in a category because there's so much, I do think Billy Bob is a good option for this. He's phenomenal. He's just I think he's an incredible actor and I do like him as a person too. So I'm a little partial to that. Same with Rufus Sewell. It's hard. There's a lot
Yeah.
of good talent here. Unfortunately, I do think like Squid Game is out of the running. I don't even think it's up for, I don't think we're gonna see it anywhere. That would be a big surprise. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's quite a lot of talent to decide from.
Abe, you mentioned Ethan Hawke. You feel like
I
there's
did mention
potential
Ethan Hawke.
there?
I certainly do. I feel like that's a show that is this better?
It still keeps cutting in and out. We'll lose you
Oh
for a
man.
little bit and then you come back. I know.
I would love
Okay.
to see
Is this
Ethan Hawke in this category.
I
yeah,
know,
I
right?
feel
And Rufus Sewell.
there's something about the actor category, like people could get just a nomination. Billy Bob, for example, because he won for season one of Goliath, and then he nominated for Landman again. That strikes me as a very typical like season enthusiasm for a show that I'm not sure will return. But I think he can do well here. Personally, I mean, I am not at all confident, but I have Adam Scott, Noah Wiley, Sterling K. Brown, Mark Ruffalo, Ethan Hawke, and John Hamm. So
All good choices, but I'm shocked. No Gary Oldman.
I think that slow horses is season back to season, I think, right? It's renewed for a lot of years, and so if they keep making more for an organization that doesn't just keep nominating something, it's the Golden Globes. Like other things, Alec Baldwin won his like seventh consecutive SAG award, 30 Rock, and Honor Family all kept winning. Like all these people keep winning things, and I feel like the Golden Globe a little bit more. They were never Slow Horses has never attracted the kind of Emmy love that it should have. The fact that there are only a couple cast members who were nominated for Emmys is pretty crazy. But to me, it's indicative of the fact that like just can't, don't aren't into much. It's a little bit strange, but they're you really get. So I feel like Gary could get nominated, but he could just as easily left.
I
And
know.
like he's been nominated every year.
Abe, we lost like 75% of what you were saying. I caught the gist of it, but the
But
audio.
I will say, Abe, I kind of hope the nominations land the way in which you are predicting them with
Yeah, I
him,
totally
Lucas,
agree.
Ethan Hawke, like Sterling K. Brown, Noah Wiley. Like I really love your setup for the nominations in this particular category. And I have my fingers crossed it plays out that way because I too agree John Hamm definitely should be in there for Your Neighbor and Friends, Friends and Neighbor. I'm an Ethan Hawke fan until I die, literally. So to see him would I just would feel like it's Christmas Day. And Rufus, I mean, his performance throughout the Diplomat is undeniable. So yeah, I
I mean,
like you, Abe.
yeah, I think Abe's way of thinking is probably more likely just because the Globes do pick chaos. Like, we've just gotten so many random nominations. But to Abe's point at the beginning, like, has the voting body changed so much where they are just gonna rubber stamp the Emmys? Like, it's hard to know where the chaos is gonna be. Like, I would love to see it. I just don't know. It's like I said, like, what are they paying attention to? And then with Ethan Hawke, like, because I feel pretty confident that he's gonna get nominated on the film side, my hesitancy is like, is he gonna get double nominations? I don't know, but that's a good call. I
I
like it.
will I will say also just paying attention to what's happening in LA as far as FYC events go and how the Globes voters seem to be like there is a lot of love for the Globes voters this year among the FYC event. So I feel like it does play a part in I think who people, are gonna vote for, you
I
know,
agree with that.
what
I agree.
experiences they are having with them. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Oh no, we can't hear you at
Oh
all, Abe.
no, Abe.
This hear me out, please.
It
It
keeps
keeps. Do you want to like maybe exit and come back? Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Like
Thing now.
it's
it's
still
pretty
coming
bad.
in and out.
The audio has been pretty choppy from the jump.
Maybe choppy from the jump.
That's
All right.
better.
That's better?
That's much.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's much better than the ear.
Yeah.
connectors.
Well, everyone keeps saying they agree with what I'm saying, and if you can't hear most of what I'm saying, then I'm doing something right. This is awards buzz. We're going to talk about the Golden Globes. Okay. Ethan Hawke is somebody who I'm actually not predicting to be nominated on the film side, but I do think Shadan makes a good point that if you are like up for one thing, you might get more buzz for another, which could be very helpful. Speaking of film actors doing TV, we have a definitive front runner-ish in the drama actress category, which is Kathy Bates. That said, she lost to Britt Lauer for Severance at the Emmys, who has not been nominated here before. Bella Ramsey was nominated the last time The Diplomat was on. Sorry, that's not true. Bella Ramsey was nominated for The Last of Us, and Helen Mirren was nominated for 1923, which would be an interesting choice to have her here again. Kerry Russell, obviously, is a returning nominee possibility, and both Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale and Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show have been nominated before, but not for. What are people thinking here?
I think there's no question about whether or not Brett, Kathy Bates, and Carrie will actually make it nomination wise. At the end of the day, I'm team Kathy Bates. So, I think in that particular category, I don't want to say it's the only nomination I care about and the only ultimate, but it is the only ultimate win that I care about. Like it's well overdue for Kathy Bates. But Carrie Russell, I can see her in the long run walking away with that win for the diplomat, honestly. Yeah.
Wow. I I mean I agree on the nomination front. I think we are going to see some noms for Pluribus, and I think this is a category that actually might surprise us with Miss Seahorn. I feel like she could she's got some potential here. I do see just with the love of Brit that we saw at the Emmys, I kind of see a little repeat playing out. But yeah, I think it's gonna be Brit, Kerry Russell, Kathy Bates. She's like the Gary Oldman for me. I love her so much, and I love her as an actress. Um, and I shouldn't really compare it to that because Matlock is not one of my favorite shows, but I do love Kathy Bates. Um, Jennifer Aniston for the morning show. I could see a repeat here. Um, yeah, I think that the last of it, Bella Ramsey has a chance. Um, Interesting. Kerry Russell, of course. Yeah, that's a hard one. I think, let's see.
I'm pretty locked into four, which would be Britt Lauer, Kerry Russell, Kathy Bates, and Rhea Seehorn. I think Jennifer Aniston, she's Jennifer Aniston. Like, there's not that many places for them to go, so she just kind of makes sense. Like, she would just get name checked. And then I'm going Carrie Coon for the Gilded Age. I'm probably crazy, but I feel about the Gilded Age the way you guys feel about Slow Horses. It is my favorite thing on all of television, and I just feel like she has so much goodwill. She's been around a lot, in terms of the press, and I could just see them, it's such a bombastic, I would say iconic performance already. So I'm going with Carrie Coon. If Landman is hitting, could we possibly see Demi Moore? She's
She's
also somebody, yeah, and like a lot of goodwill still from last year, like.
she's so good this season too. I
Yeah.
will say they really upped the ante with her. She is performing at like one of her all-time highs. You're right, off of coming off of Substance. I feel like I think you're right, Shadan. She did there should be a little more talk about her in the running. And Carrie Coon, you're yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just convinced me Carrie Coon over Bella Ramsey. After that, I'm like, oh, I think you're right, actually.
I would say that Carrie Coon and Kerry Russell, both of them, like those show. I mean, The Diplomat is certainly more serious than The Gilded Age, but I think that they belong to a slightly different category to me, and so I feel like, especially The Diplomat had a very underwhelming Emmy performance this year, where only only Carrie was nominated, which was surprising. So I'm not entirely set on The Diplomat. I do think it's a very Golden Globe show, but I'm not entirely sure about it. I do think Bella Ramsey will still get in because I feel like even if you have problems with The Last of Us, they were doing great, great work, and that's a likely thing. I would not count on Kathy for a win, given that she lost this prize to Anna Sawai last year and lost to Britt Lauer at the Emmys. It's because Matlock doesn't have greater support in other categories. I know we're rooting for that. That would be great, and it's great for the network drama broadcast, but I just don't see that happening necessarily. For number six, I have Brittany Snow for The Hunting Wives. So
You
that's
are
the extent
like,
of Hunting Wives predictions. I just feel like it's for a show to be so buzzed about and so like I don't know, it just seems strange for it not to be there. I'd also watch out for Sydney Chandler for Alien Earth if they go for something which is essentially the opposite of The Hunting Wives, right? Alien Earth and The Hunting Wives just don't go together at all. And I did see oddly high up on Gold Derby's odds Emma Thompson for Down Cemetery Road, but I just don't really see that happening. I'm not that show. I don't think did anything. It's important when there's a bigger name. Someone like Helen Mirren for 1923, you just want to watch out that maybe that's somebody who will end up doing pretty well.
interesting. Interesting. You have my wheels turning with The Hunting Wives. So
Again, it's just me and literally nobody else out of like 50, 60 something shows. It's not even listed. So I'm
yeah.
probably wrong. Maybe it's not eligible. I don't know why that would be, but I'm here to say I called it if the earth stops spinning and it happens. So
It is gonna you and your predictions, Abe. It is gonna happen. I could see it already. We're all
You're
gonna
gonna
come
win at least
together.
one nomination.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense. It just makes sense.
Alan, how do you not have Malin Ackerman then? You got two best act? Like, I don't know. But I think Brittany Snow is the one who's sort of out there more, especially with The Beast in Me and Murdoch, Death in the Family. Like she's just out there doing a lot of stuff. Um, Moving over to comedy, this is like the opposite of the drama race, where we have five of last year's nominees are eligible again. Wednesday is eligible after being nominated for season one, and we have the studio. So literally, if we just take Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, and add the studio, we're done. Like which is the weak link of those? I don't even know that there is one.
I think
I Oh, go
you
ahead, go
go
ahead.
for it, Shadan.
Well, I was gonna say nobody wants this. To me, seems I just feel like the second season the reviews weren't as strong. It felt like it came and went, whereas like the first season people were talking about it for so long. So that does seem like the weak link to me, but I don't know where else they would go. It just doesn't seem like there's that many other contenders. So I put it in as like a it's there, but I'm willing to be convinced because I think it is weak, like hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. I think The Bear is the weakest link, and I'm rooting all things the studio. Like that's just it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
will.
no question about like Hags, Only Murders in a Building, Abbott Elementary, and the Bear making it in the nomination space, but I think the weakest of them all would be The Bear.
I feel like our top five is locked with Hacks, the Studio, Only Murders, Abbott, and The Bear. I agree with you, Shadan. I don't think last year, you guys know I was a big champion of Nobody Wants This. I don't see
Same.
it. Yeah, I don't see it making the cut. I do because you guys know I watch so much TV. A little bit down the list, the Gold Derby has The Paper, which I think is an excellent show. I Love LA. I have really gotten into, I think, and also I believe Rachel Sennett is a favorite on this list. Um, and I'm gonna say A Man on the Inside and Palm Royale are two shows also that I really enjoy. So I think it's the sixth slot that's up for grabs. I mean, if we're talking winners, I think the studio, pretty much as we've learned, is kind of the studio and the pit are the heavy favorites in this race. But I think there's some wiggle room here for the sixth slot.
I will say, Latasha, I Palm Royale season one was not nominated for any Golden Globes. It was nominated for Emmys for actress and comedy series. A Man on the Inside was only nominated for Best Actor here. And historically speaking, the Golden Globes are not going to later embrace something they didn't embrace. So, for instance, I would actually rank Nobody Wants This far ahead of Abbott and Only Murder because while both shows continue to be good, they're just keep on going. And
Yeah.
I feel like the other ones, like The Bear, is in its own sort of category, and Critics' Choice almost entirely abandoned it last year. So it's
Yeah.
possible that The Bear will be summarily dismissed. That said, I feel like people might have liked season four better than season three, but I don't really know. Hacks is obviously like in its own Hacks in the Studio, whatever. But again, I would put Nobody Wants This probably at number three after those. Just because maybe four, maybe after The Bear. I also think there's a lot of other possibilities. To me, the chair company and the rehearsal occupy the same space, which is, are they really like, are they too weird? And the answer is yes, I think so. I don't think that they're going to get in. Poker Face is another possibility, but I think that's sort of dead now, as is the Four Seasons, which did not have a huge Emmy welcome that it could have.
Yeah.
The other show I'd like to just mention, which I don't think has a strong chance, is Overcompensating, which I really enjoy on Prime Video. And so, for leaning younger, it's possible that that one could be there. But I think this category is less interesting than we'd like to give it credit for. Does anyone think Wednesday is going to get in? It got in for season one, but that was like 3 years ago.
I don't think
It's cer-
Wednesday. Go ahead, Siri.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I don't think Wednesday is going to get in, but I think like as far as the sixth spot, I want to kind of piggyback off you, Siri. I would actually like to see the Man on the Inside land in this category. It's one of my favorites of this past TBC season. I would like
Totally.
to see that one.
Yeah, it's an excellent show. It's an
Yeah.
excellent show. Yeah, it's I don't know. That's it. That's interesting, Abe. It's certainly something to think about. Um,
I think I'm gonna put I Love LA in my sixth slot because traditionally the Globes, like I said, they really like the new show. They really embraced girls back in the day, and so like I like the idea of them nominating I Love LA and Rachel Sennett together as like a pair.
Mm.
So I feel like that's just a Globesy thing to do. I could be totally wrong, but I could see them sort of trying to anoint that show. I don't know if it's as popular as like some of the other shows they've done this with in the past, but. It just seems like I think I Love LA and The Paper might be the strongest of these sort of quote unquote outside choices that we've discussed.
True. Well, and I absolutely. I think also just paying attention to the chair company, and you're right, it is a little too out there, but critics really like that show.
Mm.
So it depends on who's doing the voting.
And I'll just note that sometimes it doesn't always that the actress goes with the show. Like Rachel Bloom won for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but the show wasn't even nominated. So I do think that's worth considering that that could happen here. I think the best actor race is almost the same as the series race, where we have 5 out of 6 from last year: Adam Brody, Ted Danson, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Jeremy Allen White. Jason Segel is not eligible because Shrinking comes back in January, which is great news, but did not air in this calendar year. Um, I'm tempted to put Benito Skinner in for Overcompensating, though I'd watch out for Steve Carell for the Four Seasons, or maybe even Glenn Powell for Chad Powers, if that feels like a Golden Globes nomination Shadan is enthusiastically endorsing.
Oh yeah, I pretty confidently put Glenn Powell in there. He just totally seems like a Golden Globes nomination. They want him at the show. He's been everywhere. They like him. He's sort of middle of the road enough to appeal to Globes voters, I think. My thing is I'm just really not sure about Adam Brody. I feel like I could see him being the one to miss. Maybe Ted Danson gets in instead, but I think Rogan, Short, Martin, Jeremy Allen White, and Powell, I'm pretty sure about actually.
I agree with that. I'm with you, Abe and Shadan on that. Definitely with Glenn, but I'm all things Seth Rogen, so in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I totally agree with everything you all just said. I yeah, I could see Ted. You're right. I think people do love Glenn Powell, and I think Shadan, he does have a good chance at taking that sixth slot. But yeah, Adam Brody could be bumped. We could see Glenn Powell and Ted Danson. I will also say, as a fan of The Paper, I think, oh gosh, Domhnall Gleason. I think he's
Oh yeah.
really good in that show. I don't know that he's going to get the proper accolades that I feel like maybe next season we'll see it. Maybe this will be one that just kind of grows um, and becomes more of a favorite among critics. But I do think his performance was really good. And Benito Skinner, Abe, I agree, overcompensating is we could see Benito Skinner uh taking Adam Brody's place here.
In
Is
my
there another
enthusiasm.
world where we can not end up seeing Jeremy Allen White in this
He has
category?
won 3 times in a row, Latasha. This is not where we're getting rid of him. This is I think that I'm just saying
And
it's
I'm not
unlikely,
trying to kick
especially
you out, Jeremy, but
I'm just saying because he's won 3 times in a row, it seems pretty
yeah.
crazy because he hasn't been winning the Emmy every year, but he's won here. I think that especially with the Bruce Springsteen movie, which is sort of dead, but he's not like I think it's possible that he would get more enthusiasm here. I made a counting error and I actually didn't write Seth Rogen down, so I'm one person over. Like I just forgot to put his name. So I will note that Only Murders, despite its SAG wins, Steve Martin has not been getting consistently nominated, which is a little crazy because if you watch the show, like they both need to be getting nominated. But so it's very possible that just Martin Short gets in, or the people are like, I'm done with the show, like I'm tired of it. I personally like season 5 a lot. I thought season 4 was the best since season 1. So it's possible people will just be like, this show is still on. There are still murders in that building, and there may just be, they may just be done with it, even though that one just keeps coming back for more. So I would not put Only Murders as strongly here as perhaps we would think it should be.
Mm, interesting.
In the Best Actress race, this one's a bit of a question because Jean Smart is certainly back. There's no question about that. But the others, we have plenty of reason to doubt Kristen Bell based on what we've talked about. Quinta Brunson, also, for my theory, it's been a while the show. She's still great, but is it like it's possible people will move on from the show? Same with Io, that if people aren't into the bear, it's possible because also the way that screen time works on that show, I feel like she's not on as much of it anymore as she should be, even though she's still excellent and still super high profile. Selena Gomez has been getting nominated here, but as we see from the Emmys, she is very sadly, easy to leave off, which is not great. And both Natasha Lyonne and Jenna Ortega were both nominated last time their shows were eligible, but as we've discussed, buzz has plummeted for both. And Kristen Wiig, we talked about before, who was not nominated for season 1, but could be nominated here. I will just throw out 2 more contenders just to shake things up. One, Sari will be very excited about, and that's Kate Hudson for Running Point. That if she's going to be nominated for Song Sung Blue, and we want a very Globes-y choice, that is a perfect one. The other one is a getting the film buzz maybe here, Rose Byrne for Platonic. If anyone's watching that show, it is a lot of fun. She's really great. She is Australian, which she is in almost nothing. And so it's nice to hear her in her actual accent. And even though it's not a sure thing, she is winning critics awards up the wazoo for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And so if people aren't sure what to do and they're tired of the same old choices, wouldn't Rose Byrne for her loosest and most delightful role yet be a great choice?
Yeah, I would love to see Rose in that category or Natasha for Poker Face for sure in that sixth spot.
I'm gonna say I would love to see my girl Uzo step in here for a nomination. I loved her in The Residents. She's awesome. I would love to see her take a spot on this list. And I'm gonna say also Rachel Sennett. I feel like I Love LA has a lot of buzz right now. I could see it taking Kristen Bell's spot. I don't know. I don't know. I think Selena's gonna get in. Jean Smart. I think we're gonna see Quinta again. I think Jenna Ortega might be up for grabs. It's this one. I think there's some variables here that might lead to a few, I don't know, few surprises.
There's only three people that I feel good about, which is Jean Smart, Quinta, and Ao. And then I'm putting in Rachel Sennett just because I feel like if you're a Globes voter and the whole like finding your way in LA could be something that appeals to them similar to the studio. But after that, I mean, I don't know. I guess Jenna Ortega maybe, but Selena, I don't know. Do they just go with Kristen Bell? I don't know. So yeah, 4 of the 6 I feel good about. The other two just feel like put someone in there.
I think I'm changing most of my predictions after we talk today, which will be fun because I wasn't really so sure before. My hesitation with Uzo is the show was canceled and it was like
Yeah.
just recently canceled when the Emmys happened. And so I'm a little bit nervous about that because also I feel like the Emmys, same way that Regina King won all these Emmys but didn't win Golden Globes. Like I think that's just to remember the body here. I also would have had like Megan Stalter in for Too Much, but that's also not how that's they like didn't quite cancel it. They're like it was always one season, but that is canceling it. So I feel like also are we underestimating Tina Fey for the 4 seasons? Like
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, it feels like such a Globes thing. I mean, she's like, her and Amy, the most beloved host in Globes history. Like, maybe that could be a thing if they don't know where to go.
sorry,
I
do you want
did
to add
like
something?
Too Much. I was gonna just say also add to the Too Much. I do think Mick Stalter did a great job with that. So that would be that would be cool. And also in the I mean it's funny because it's like a girls theme um between I Love LA and Too Much. It'll be interesting to see because it is you know kind of similar in that sense. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned Rose Byrne. Hey, I do. I would not be surprised to see her in this category.
But that said, if people are actually watching stuff, like she should have been nominated every year for physical. And so that always gives me pause that if like people haven't been paying attention, how would you now be like, oh, Rose Byrne? It's like, where have you been? And also, like, it's Apple. It's the same network. That's part of the problem to me, is that it's not like it's coming somewhere different. Like, it's possible that, I don't know, Ray Seahorn being on Apple could be helpful as opposed to before when she was on. I don't know how all that works. I don't know if it's all just a matter of what people are have screeners for, what they like watching. I don't know. But I'd love to take us over to the limited series or limited or anthology series or TV movie, though we don't really do TV movies anymore. I don't believe that they're really honored. This category does not have precursors the same way, with two relevant exceptions this year. One is that the monster shows have both been nominated in the past, and it's worth noting that the first monster, the Dahmer one, was not in competition with Beef, and so it did very well here. And then Beef like destroyed it at the Emmys because they were up against each other. And so that's worth remembering. Similarly, I know that Sari is ever so slightly a fan of the Black Mirror series. And from what I could tell, despite its Emmy hauls, Black Mirror has not been nominated for Golden Globes before. And so even though that didn't hurt it from getting its first limited, or sorry, I guess anthology series nomination at the Emmys, it does not have that history here. And so I think if anybody thinks anything other than Adolescence is winning here, then we should have a serious conversation. But Sari, go ahead because you do.
Okay, Black Rabbit, I feel like is totally sweeping just the winning the hearts of everybody this season. I agree with that. Okay, I agree with you with Adolescence, but I could see a little surprise with Black Rabbit. I think there's too much love behind that show. I think we're going to even see potentially a second series, a second season, um, because of how much people love that show and how good everyone is in that show. It's a fantastic show.
I'm fine for getting a nomination. I think if Stephen Graham can beat Colin Farrell in The Penguin for an Emmy, there's no stopping Adolescence. Like that should not have happened based on the way, like the level of fame and all the other stuff. So I feel like Adolescence is already like has already won this. That said, Adolescence is not in contention for the Emmy next year. So we can certainly revisit that. I'm fine to put Black Rabbit in. I think Dying for Sex is in,
Yeah.
even though I've always been a little nervous about that one. I'm not sure why. Monster the Ed Gein story, I think is. I don't know if people really didn't like it or not. I feel like it's still probably okay.
Yeah.
And The Beast in Me is hitting recently. That's so popular. And I
Yeah.
would put in Death by Lightning as my final one, though I'm a little unsure about that, even though I loved that one.
What about Sirens? What do you guys think about Sirens?
It was one of my favorite series of past season. Um I would not, I mean, I know that Sirens is predicted to be nominated, but I would not be surprised if they don't make the list. But I just think, again, I'm very biased in some of these categories, adolescent or monster, the Ed Gein story. Those are the only two that I, fancy. I just want to see them two win.
I had Sirens in my six and I replaced it with All Her Fault. It just seems like it's newer. It has like m more buzz. Sirens came and went minus, it got a couple of surprise Emmy nominations, but in terms of like zeitgeist, it seems like All Her Fault right now is more top of mind. Um, I don't have it predicted, but I just want to throw out Dope Thief. It's a timely topic, A-list cast. So that could easily be something they throw in here.
Hmm.
I love Dope Thief. I'm a little worried about it because I feel like it just got the Best Actor nomination at the Emmys. I don't
Yeah.
know people are as into it. That said, Wagner Moura right now is in The Secret Agent, which is like doing very well. He's probably going to get nominated. So maybe I'd love to see it. I'm not predicting it. For me, I liked Sirens, but then I went to go watch episode 6, and it was like, you're done with the series. And I was like, what are you talking about? There's still half a season left, and there wasn't. So that is my gripe with that show, is I would have liked, I was like, we were just getting interesting. Where is the rest of the show? And there is no rest of the show.
Hmm.
So if other voters are as angry as I am, maybe we'll see what happens. Um, the other one I would put in here is The Girlfriend, which I know Latasha is a fan of also. I feel like The Girlfriend and All Her Faults belong to this sort of like intense, sort of sensational class that I just don't know if people are. Apple's Never follows a similar one from last season. I just don't know if people are voting for it. They're definitely watching it and enjoying it. I just don't know how much of that will translate to actual nominations. It could totally happen. And I feel like also I mean, Prime Video doesn't have anything else that we talked about in this race, so it's possible they're going to really go for that. That's what they haven't been doing very well with other stuff in the past, like The Boys and all this other stuff. Just have not been getting the, and Etoile certainly was not a success. We didn't even talk about that today, you know. So I don't know if having only one horse in the race could be helpful. I feel like not as much here as possibly in the Emmy race later on.
What do you guys think about The Beast in Me?
I think it's in.
Make
I know I've
yeah,
been doing a ton of interviews for that show, so they are pumping that one. They're trying to get it, and I think it like shattered some records for viewership, right? Like billions, or like what it's doing very, very well.
yeah.
I think I
Never.
love Shadan that you mentioned All Her Fault.
Mm.
I don't know why that one went over my head, but I could see them slipping into the sixth spot as well. There is tremendous amount of buzz going on with that show.
Yeah, and never underestimate Claire Danes. I just feel like
Mm.
awards buzz, awards voters love everything that Claire Danes does. So I just feel like when she's in something, I'm like, I'm gonna predict it. I actually haven't seen the show yet, but I'm just predicting it just because of Claire Danes. The power of Claire Danes.
Well, moving on to our best actor in a limited or anthology series or TV movie, which is a mouthful. Stephen Graham is in for sure. We're going to go ahead and take Serious Enthusiasm. We'll put both Jude Law and Jason Bateman in, I think. Charlie Hunnam, I feel like, is in even if the show isn't, right? People seem to be very excited about his performance. And despite having worked for many years, he is not an award winning actor. Like he did, it's a good thing for him to be doing that now. I put in Matthew Rhys for The Beast in Me because if you watch that show, you can't really just award Claire Danes, and if Damian Lewis did well for Homeland back in the day, like Matthew has a much higher profile. And even though I love Matthew Macfadyen in Death by Lightning, I'd probably put Michael Shannon in above him. But I'm also not sure why I'm underestimating Brian Tyree Henry for Dope Thief because I think he's really good. I just don't know that like that's another one. Like it should have been renewed for season 2. It hasn't happened yet. I'm nervous.
I have Brian Tyree Henry in my number six. I mean, he's a Tony nominee. He got an Oscar nomination for a tiny movie. Like awards voters really like him. So if we're playing it safe, he just makes the most sense. He got the most buzz out of that show. So it just seems like, I don't know, if you're going down a ballot and you see his name, um, yeah.
Now, I know Paul Giamatti did not make the cut for the Emmys, but could he do it for the Globes for Black Mirror?
My question with that, with everything, and same
Mm.
thing for Rashida or for the other people like Emma Corrin, who was one of my favorites from Black Mirror this year, is how do you judge a one episode performance in conjunction with everything else? Because obviously TV movies are supposed to be eligible here, and Black Mirror used to be considered that, but that's my take is like you don't have as much of a sample. And
Yeah.
so Paul Giamatti is Paul Giamatti, and we should not count that against him. The full quality that
Yeah.
I would love to be. Paul Giamatti. But that's a helpful quality to have. But that's my question mark with him right there.
Yeah.
I would also throw out two other names here. One is Michael Chernus for Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy, another hardworking actor, which is helpful, who this is like a role that's finally putting him in the spotlight. Um, and I would also add Jason and Momoa for Chief of War. I'm not really sure how that show's going to do, but I feel like yeah, I like Latasha when I say things, you sort of like,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
I'm like
So,
really, I'm in Abe's world right now. Yeah.
You
to be
think
clear, I'm
Jason?
often known for making like I rarely predict the right winner. Like I'm always like my analysis is great, but you have to read to line two or three to get there. Like I don't always I have good thoughts, they just don't always translate to what actually happens.
So you would think Jason Momoa over Jacob Elordi?
What is Jacob? What is that? What is he in? What is that on?
The
I don't even serious. Is it what network
the,
streamer
the
was it on?
narrow road to the deep north. The
Can
narrow
you tell
road.
me can you tell me what that was on? Have you seen it?
No, I can't.
I'm being serious. Like that's an important thing. Like he's Jacob Elordi, but what was
He's
he in? Like that's a relevant thing. Chief of War did very well. It's on Apple, and
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is like a huge name, and so I don't think he's going to get in. He's one of my alternates, but I still think that Jacob Elordi, like you can't. You have to be like Meryl Streep in something random to get in. I don't think Jacob Elordi is there yet,
Mhm.
as in the
We've
case of Timothy Chalamet not getting nominated for an Oscar for Beautiful Boy. Timothy Chalamet now would get nominated for an Oscar for Beautiful Boy, but back then he just wasn't well known enough to carry a film all by himself and not have any other support for it. Kathy Bates for Matlock, sure, no problem, but and so Jacob Elordi in a few years, yes, let's do it, no problem. Did you want to add something, Shadan?
I was just gonna say this has turned into like a manifestation thing. Like we all have our like things that we're pushing for, whether they make sense or not, and I kind of love it.
Just wait for Best Actress. I have a huge, not a jaw dropper, but a really. Um, I think with Kristen Milioti out of the way, we got Michelle Williams in here in the top slot for Dying for Sex. Sarah Snook, I think for all her fault, even if the show doesn't do anything, she's got the Succession, Afterglow. I don't even know that she's the best on that show, honestly, Latasha. You might agree with me on that, but I
Yeah.
think that there's, it's her thing. Claire Danes, The Beast in Me. I think Amanda Seyfried for Long Bright River, even though that show didn't do very much, the fact that she has Testament of Anne Lee, which is still a question mark on the film side, I think is a good thing for her. Caitlin Dever, Apple Cider Vinegar, even though it didn't happen in the Oscars, that is such a good show. She's so
It
good
is.
in it. Um, and I will save my surprise for later while just noting that I'm not predicting Emmy nominees Megan Fahy for Sirens or Rashida Jones for Black Mirror. And I'm also not predicting Renee Zellweger because it's a TV movie and nobody likes TV movies except for all of us who enjoy award stuff.
I'm predicting Renee. I don't know if it's like a fellow Texan thing, and I know they don't like their TV movies, but they like Renee Zellweger, and so like and they like Bridget Jones, and so I could just see that happening. And like I just don't know where else they would go. Well, actually, I do know where they would go. I think that it might be Patricia Arquette for the Murdoch show. Just because she's Patricia Arquette and that's such a like buzzy sort of true crime show. So I'm gonna do Williams, Snook, Danes, Zellweger, Seyfried, and Patricia Arquette.
James, William Snook, Megan for Sirens, and Renee on my end.
I'm
So
with you, Latasha. I think Danes is in my top slot for The Beast in Me. Yeah. Danes, Williams, Snook, Fahy, Caitlin Dever, and Patricia Arquette.
Let me throw three more names at you before I say the other one I'm predicting. Robin Wright and Olivia Cook for The Girlfriend. I would actually choose Olivia Cook. Again, we'll see if Prime Video is doing anything with that one. Grace Van Patten for The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox. I'm not sure how that was received, but she's great. She's been doing a lot for a while. And my prediction, which is, I would say, as bold as the Hunting Wives, that is Ellen Pompeo for Good American Family.
oh,
Really?
Well, really, yes. Likely, no. But I think that there's something I think that I believe she was nominated once for Grey's Anatomy back in like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that there's something about the transformation of that performance. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. It's certainly a left field pick, and I'm not at all confident. But there was something about that where I was just like, I don't know. It's possible.
It's left field, but it's definitely well deserved.
And she
Yeah,
was everywhere. She promoted the heck out of that
she did.
show.
Yeah.
She
I
like
think,
Which is
came
good,
out
but
of a
also not helpful
cocoon
because
to
it was so
promote
long
it.
ago. That's the only problem. Is like
yeah,
it
I
didn't do anything with the Emmys.
it got, yeah, that was it. That was what did it for me. Like it kind of got lost in the shuffle. I feel like when it first came out, it had that potential, but it's almost like the Murdoch murders kind of took feels like it's taking favorites over that if we're talking about, I don't know, there's a lot of true crime favorites this season. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's it. That's tough.
Well, if we thought this was easy, which we did not, going to the supporting categories is like crazy because it is a collection of all three Emmy categories, but also doesn't always draw from them. Last year, Jack Lowden for Slow Horses was nominated. He did not repeat his Emmy nomination, so though it is certainly deserved, and what a season for this was a great season for River. Not that every season is a great season for River. Um, Eben Moss Backrash, if we're still talking about him for the Bear, he was nominated last year too here. Billy Crudup and John Turturro were nominated the last time their shows were nominated. And previously, Tyler James Williams actually won this award for Abbott a few years ago, but he has not been nominated in a while. And Mark Duplass, who I like, but I don't understand why he keeps getting singled out from the morning show over other people, like he was nominated in the past. Then, to add to this, we have Emmy winner Owen Cooper, Emmy winner Tremel Tillman. We have nominees for the Emmys: Walton Goggins, Jason Isaacs, Sam Rockwell, Ike Barinholtz, James Marsden, Ashley Walters for Adolescence, and Coleman Domingo. All of those people are in here, plus a few others. Because if we're talking about how much we love the pit, how do you have a thing where Patrick Ball and Jaren Howell don't get nominated? I think they're both absolutely terrific. Um, and then you also have someone from like Stellan Skarsgård from Andor, and I mentioned Wagner Moura from Dope Thief. Like, how do you pick? Do we just have like an 18-way tie? What do people have in the lead here?
I also want to point out this thing with the pit is like I feel like it's gonna win, and Noah Wiley is also a lock. The show itself is gonna win, and Noah Wiley is a lock. But did you notice also there's no female favorites? Like there's no women from the pit who are expected to lead in any of these categories.
That's true.
So I don't think the men in here will either. I think it's Noah and I think it's the pit. Um, yeah, otherwise I do feel like in this category it's going to be Owen Cooper, Tremel Tillman, Walton Goggins, Ike Barinholtz. I would go for John Turturro for Severance and maybe Stellan Skarsgård for Andor. That would be my six.
My six would be Coleman Domingo. But I think this is clearly Owen's category, ultimately. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just say the supporting categories at the Globes in general are my favorite categories of any award shows because there's always something random. I'm obsessed with them. So I actually really like the Stellan Skarsgård pick, and I'm tempted to put him in here. Maybe because originally, okay, I had Owen Cooper, Tremel Tillman, Billy Crudup for the morning show because he just seems like somebody who could get in even if his show falls off a little bit. Walter Goggins. I had Tom Pelphrey for Task. I love Tom Pelphrey, and he just seems like a Globes kind of that Jack Lowden slot could be the Tom Pelphrey this year. And then I had Ike Barinholtz, but maybe Billy Crudup misses and Stellan Skarsgård gets nominated twice. Maybe they feel like they don't need to nominate him because he's definitely getting that film supporting actor nomination. I felt pretty good about my six, but then I was like, oh, I forgot about Stellan. So, Abe, help me out here. I saw you
I would
nodding a
not
couple times.
I just don't think Andor is. I don't know. I would be surprised. That said, Stellan is getting nominated for an Oscar and, more importantly, for a film Golden Globe for Sentimental Value. So it'd be a nice little pair of things, especially because I don't know which role he's having more fun with. Like he's definitely chewing scenery in both. I did Tom Helfrey. I do have on there. I do think Task should do pretty well, even though, well, yeah, I guess it would always have done well here, and Tom is a big part of why that's good. I am rudely left out Zach Cherry as an Emmy nominee for Severance, but I also think that he was a shock there, and there's no way he's getting in here. Um, we shouldn't underestimate Ike because if you've watched the studio, you remember that at the Golden Globes within the studio, everybody thanks his character. So he sort of should win only because it's the Golden Globes, but we'll see what happens with that. Having Jeff Hiller win the Emmy for Somebody Somewhere, which he is not eligible because that show is over, who knows what to predict here? But I think I was going to count out the White Lotus entirely, but I guess better to count in Walton Goggins. We also, I think Fallout is probably doing a role thing. Fallout was completely snubbed last year, but it is returning this month. I don't know if that means it's eligible or not, but given how it did last year, I don't think it would be a contender. But I guess it's ill-advised to count out Walton. That said, if you're going to talk about the person who's doing a lot of promo, who we really enjoyed talking to, at least three of us talked to him, and that's Jason Isaacs. Really, like, was all out there, and though his character isn't quite as deplorable in some ways, I do think that he's definitely out there and has not gotten a lot of recognition, whereas I feel like Walton has gotten some. I don't know. I don't know what to make of all that. It would be sort of disappointing if only Sam Rockwell got in. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm not sure. I ultimately think I'll keep John Turturro in, Owen Cooper, Tramel Tillman, Walton, Ike, and Tom. Um, but yeah, I think
Well,
if we're gonna do you have more thoughts on supporting actors, should we move on to
no, I was just gonna say Walton Goggins is like the moment right now. He's kind of like the Pedro Pascal of the
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
people love him. He's everywhere as far as like, magazine covers and just a lot of career
Appreciation.
appreciation. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Mhm.
recognition. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like that in itself is just he's kind of the moment. But I would also agree with you at where Jason Isaacs is concerned. Like we love him. He's wonderful. I would personally love to see him get the nomination.
I would also just caution about confusing the Emmys and the Golden Globes when it comes to White Lotus. That I looked back and I was surprised because Jennifer Coolidge was the only nominee from season one, and it didn't get nominated for Best Limited Series. It was in the limited series category for season two, or I guess the anthology series, not drama series, but it did not get a lot of nominations. So the fact that it gets like almost double-digit acting nominations every year at the Emmys does not always translate here. And so I feel like having to pick between so many different people, I mean, even Succession got a couple nominations here, but not as many as it did at the Emmys. I feel like that could lead to nobody. But then we get into our supporting actress category, which might actually be even crazier. Last year's three nominees who are eligible. Interesting bunch. Liza Collins-Zayas for The Bear, Hannah Einbinder, and Allison Janney. Hannah, I think, is in. Allison, I'm a little worried about because she didn't get nominated for the Emmy, and I still don't know how to read The Diplomat. And again, she was always the Emmy winner, not as much the Golden Globe winner for The West Wing. Liza is a very peculiar instance because she won an Emmy for season two, but it should have been for season three because I think voters were confused and thought they were voting for an episode that hadn't, like, wasn't actually eligible. So I don't know that she needs to keep being nominated because she is still very good, but she's not a huge part of the show. It's not like I just don't know what to make of it there. There are many past nominees who were not nominated last year, including Abby Elliott for The Bear, who I thought was great, but I don't see any chance of her getting nominated. She plays Sugar on that. Meryl Streep, Only Murders in the Building, was nominated for season three. I think now she's essentially a guest, so I would be a bit surprised to see that, especially considering the wealth of other actresses on that show this season. Janelle James and Cheryl Lee Ralph, it's been a while, but they were nominated back in the day. Yellow Jackets, which was completely snubbed by the Emmys this year, has only ever been nominated for one Golden Globe, and that was Christina Ricci for season two, which is sort of random but great. Similarly, Anne Dowd and Yvonne Strahovski were nominated early on in The Handmaid's Tale, which I think will lead to absolutely nothing this year for them. But I would love to hear from all of you who are this year's new contenders who could jump on.
Well, I'm gonna jump in and take back my statement about the pit and women not being
I know I
nominated.
that Siri.
Because Catherine Lanasa is definitely in this category. I was just thinking with what we had gone through already, but yeah, yeah, I do. I think she's going to be a heavy favorite, and Hannah Einbinder, of course. Um, Erin for Adolescence. I think also we could see Carrie Coon here for The White Lotus. Um, the studio, Catherine O'Hara, and I would say Allison Janney here for The Diplomat. That would be my other pick.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
think if I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off you, Siri, definitely Hannah, Aaron. I would not be surprised, kind of left field, if Janelle James from Abbott Elementary sneaks into like the sixth spot. Catherine O'Hara, the studio, of course, without a doubt, she's gonna land a nomination. I would be surprised if she doesn't. And Carrie Coon. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the three Emmy winners, Hannah Einbinder, Erin Doherty, Catherine Lanessa, which is crazy that they're going to be up against each other. I have Catherine O'Hara for the studio. I have Carrie Coon for the White Lotus. I love Carrie Coon. So I put in Parker Posey for my sixth slot. I'm not sure about it, but it just seems like maybe go with like the bigger show here. And also she was such an iconic sort of quotable, but she sort of had the Jennifer Coolidge role of the White Lotus, like the Lanazapam quotes and the like, why are you with this old man? Like a lot of the iconic sort of viral moments from the White Lotus came from her. And then I feel like so she just, I guess if I had to pick, she was my number six. I mean, Jenny Slate, maybe. Allison Janney, maybe. There's just not that many good options. So I feel like when in doubt, go with the person from the quote unquote stronger show.
Yeah.
Well, to me, there's a lot of intra-show competition. I would also agree that I would choose Parker Posey over Carrie Coon in terms of the buzz and what I was hearing from the White Lotus. That said, Carrie Coon also has other roles. She is very beloved in the like very active in like every night she's posting that she's going to a different screening of some
Right.
Academy film and all that. So I feel like that's why she ended up being the Emmy odds. Like I think she was expected to win over Catherine. Interestingly, there. Speaking of Catherines, I don't know why we're not talking about Catherine Hahn for the studio in addition to Catherine O'Hara. And so it feels weird. That said, if you're going to talk about that show, both of them have minor roles compared to Ike, Chase Sweet Wonders, who isn't even in the conversation. She's fantastic. And Seth. So I don't know that I would necessarily say like one isn't more than the other. On the pit, Issa Briones and Fiona Dourif should both be in the conversation, but I just don't know that they will be. But I think they're both really fantastic. Um, Amelia Jones for Task, definitely someone to consider. And if we're talking about shows and actresses, Christine Baranski for The Gilded Age was nominated for an Emmy. Genevieve O'Reilly for Andor is definitely a possibility. Mon Mothma. Um, and we also should probably at least mention Christine Tremarco, who was nominated alongside Erin Doherty for Adolescence, just like Ashley Walters in the supporting actor category. I agree that one has much more buzz than the other, but still worth considering. I'm going to go ahead and throw a surprise one here. This is not just a me thing, though. Other people are saying this, so don't count this in as the other crazy ones I was talking about. But Laurie Metcalf for Monster, because
Mm.
she is very beloved. And also, one of my most random nomination memories of the Golden Globes is another Ryan Murphy show when Cynthia Nixon was nominated for supporting actress for Ratched, which is a show that was renewed for its second season and never came out, which is very sad. But that came from nowhere. And Cynthia Nixon is not Laurie Metcalf. Laurie Metcalf has a different reputation, and I feel like even if you're going to say that Monster is a little over the top, like this is the over the top they like. Who doesn't want a Laurie Metcalf over the top, right? So I feel like that feels like a pretty likely choice given what Globe voters tend to think.
True.
Can I just throw out, is it Taylor Dearden from the pit? Because she was singled out
Yes.
at the Spirit Awards, which surprised me because Spirit Awards, they don't have, it's genderless. So the fact that she made it in there, I was like, maybe there's more love for her. And the Globes love a Nepo baby. So like she could be an outside shot. And then we didn't mention him for supporting actor, but could Bryan Cranston, if the studio is going to be huge at the Globes, could he just be a name check? Because he did win the Guest Actor Emmy.
I don't.
Outside
I do
shot,
love.
but Maybe.
I do love my statistics, and I wish I had a better like. Has that happened before? I feel like Sally Field was nominated for a SAG award for ER when she was definitely a recurring guest star. So that's not a great comparison. But I don't know. I feel like that probably wouldn't happen. Because I do think the studio is popular, but Adolescence is still the one that's going to dominate. I agree that if I was voting, The Pit and Severance would be up. I think I I did this, and that's why it's not going to happen. So Patricia Arquette was nominated for an Emmy for Severance, so we should talk about her. But Deechan Lockman was, to me, the best part of Severance season two, and the fact that I forgot to even put her in my predictions tells me all I need to know, which is that she will not be nominated, which is devastating because to watch season two of Severance and not vote for her over enthusiastically is a crime that many, and now myself, have committed.
Abe, you brought up Chase We Wonders. I would love to see her enter the chat. I think she was phenomenal and is very beloved in this role. So that would be a
Not
nice.
here, right? If she couldn't get at the Emmys, I don't think like there's no room
I
for her here.
know. I know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't foresee it happening, but I would personally love to see it. I think she's really good.
I think that even if the top series categories are not interesting, we're going to have enough to talk about in these supporting races anyway. So I'm sure we can find some time once the nominations are out. I will not be getting up at 5:15 necessarily, but I do think we'll find some time to go through and really see what's happening here and process. But I feel like there's so many categories. There has to be some good surprises, right? It can't all just be like more of the same. There's too much good stuff in contention this year. We have to have something really positive, exciting.
Can I just
Agreed.
close out with two thoughts?
Yes.
If Renee Zellweger doesn't get nominated for the Bridget Jones sequel, I am never predicting anybody for a TV movie for any acting category in any award show ever again because it's the most Globes thing to do. So if it doesn't happen here, it's never happening for anybody. I don't care who you are. I'm putting that out there right now. Like this is the nomination that's forever gonna change the way I predict award shows for the rest of my life. And one other thing I want to say real quick, because they're adding the best podcast category. I just want to touch on it briefly because I think the contenders are insane. Like I was looking at Gold Derby and I was like, what are we doing here? Like it's crazy. Because okay, so I think Good Hang, Armchair Expert, Smart List, they're like the celebrity pods that everyone kind of knows and goes on. They're part of the interview circuit. But the fact that they're predicting like up first with NPR, which I listen to every morning, but just the fact that that podcast could be in a category with the smart list guys is crazy to me. I'm like, who's gonna show up? What's it gonna be? The Gold Derby odds don't have whatever the Kelsey Brothers podcast is, but like if they're eligible, they're definitely gonna show up because they want Taylor Swift there. Any excuse to get Taylor Swift to show up anywhere. So that is I will be awake early, Abe, to watch that. That is the category that I'm most excited for because I'm like, what is gonna happen?
I love that they implemented the podcast category. I love that.
It also could be chaos if Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro are nominated because those are two people who do not like the people who come to the Golden Globes and the content the Golden Globes usually reward. And so I would be startled if they were nominated. It seems pretty like absurd, but you never know. And yeah, I'm not as invested in podcasts as the rest of all this stuff, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of good stuff to talk about. And I hope that we'll see again. I always hope for some really good surprises and something. I don't know if the Golden Globes have the same relevance that they used to. That said, I'm not sure they ever really did. And so it's just the first shot of like, what could this look like? Especially for the film side. And for TV, it's like, well, we did it before. Let's try it again. Let's see if we can get in there. And I am go hunting wise. Let's see if I can make it happen. And the worst part is if I enter my predictions on Gold Derby, it's not going to matter because you can't even choose the hunting wise. It's not even an option. So I said it here, you heard it, and
You did.
hopefully who knows what'll happen. So but thank you everyone. This is always a lot of fun and hope I was better heard through most of it. If I'm garbled through the beginning, you obviously stuck around and listened to more of it. And thank you to this wonderful team for a lively conversation.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for having us.